Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the King of Armor Destruction, and you guessed it, we've got a body armor test today. That's what we like to do over here, and you guys seem to react rather well to me producing this kind of content, so we're going to keep doing it. I apologize in advance about any of the background noise. The neighbors are either getting asphalt or loads of dirt. Probably should have coordinated with them to get some more dirt for my pile. But anyways, we have a ballistic clipboard, or rigid, or backpack panel, whatever you want to call it, from ShotStop today. This is their ballistic clipboard. It weighs 1 pound 4 ounces. It is 270 thousandths thick in freedom units, or for those across the pond, 6.85 millimeters. It's got their logo here on the side that you normally would put paper on. Then the threat rating and all the warranty information is here on the back. A little constructive criticism, I would probably flip those around so that, you know, if you're walking around with this, you don't got all this garbly goop on the back, you just got a logo, so then less people know what you have. One thing I try to pride myself on over here on my channel is a lot of data. I try to mimic a lot of the IIIA testing protocol whenever possible, because I am out here in the woods and I'm doing the best that I can. Since this is a soft pistol armor, we're going to shoot at 7 to 10 feet. We have a chronograph, a Pro Chronopal Digital DOX, that we place at about 7 to 10 feet because we need to know the velocity of that bullet. We also shoot at 0 degrees because that is worst case scenario for the armor. We use a giant clay briefcase filled with a non-hardening oil-based clay that acts as a compressible media for the armor to act up against as if it were up against your body. Again, this provides maximum energy transfer to that plate. Being that this is a rigid panel, I have a good feeling inside my warm little heart that this is going to stand up to some pretty gnarly threats that we like to throw at it. New for 2022, I've actually come out with my own threat standards. I got a link down there in my link tree description because you probably can't read that from here. Essentially, I kind of built upon some of the IIIA standards and came up with my own threats so that when companies contact me and want me to do these demos or reviews for them, I can give them a list of threats that I could potentially shoot at their panel so that they're not getting scared when I give them the results afterwards. Pretty much a lot of these mimic the IIIA standards, but you know, I've got handgun 2, 3, and 4, and under handgun 4, I've got our Liberty Civil Defense, you know, out of the 16-inch barrel, or SS-198 LF as well. So I got some pretty unique threats that are still fairly common that we can use to test against some of these panels. If I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, ShotStop sent me that ballistic clipboard for me to review, demo with as I pleased, with no strings attached. There are various use cases for rigid panels such as that. I actually have a version of that in my backpack, and we're going to see how well it does today. We're going to start off with 9mm, since that's a very common threat for soft armor. I have L7A1, that's a pretty warm 124 grain full metal jacket. Then I have our Liberty Civil Defense, that's a 50 grain all copper round. Pretty exotic, but I would feel it's fairly common. And then I have a 115 grain IMI Samson black tip. That just means that it is extra pressure. We have a 7.72 inch CZ Scorpion Evo 3 right here that we're going to use first. So the IMI will be third, the Liberty Civil Defense second, then the L7A1 first. I'll place these rounds pretty much on the right side, top to bottom, because the chronograph can't go low enough at this distance, so I have to go move it after these shots. So it should be on the top of the plate. Pretty good velocity. Then the Liberty Civil Defense. Then the IMI. And the bugs. The bugs, man, the bugs. And now our 16-inch, this is an AR-V9 from Palmetto State Armory. It takes our CZ Scorpion Evo mag, so less mags that I have to buy. Same shot order, IMI last, Liberty Civil Defense second, and the L7A1 first. You should be in the same line as the first string. All right. So that one was about 2.5 inches low. This might be a little close to the plate edge, but we'll go with it. Right where I wanted it. Then our IMI, I'm not sure if it'll pick this one up or not based on the angle, but this is going to be at the top of the plate. Nice, it picked it up. Now for some 5.7 by 28 millimeter threats. Given that this is a rigid panel and pretty good thickness, it should stop these rounds out of our pistol. So we're going to go right to the 8-inch. This is our Kel-Tec P50. It is top loading. The top opens up and it uses FNP90 magazines. We have two very common loads here. We have American Eagle TMJ, that is a 40 grain full metal jacket, although I think it's a plated bullet, so I guess I shouldn't call it a full metal jacket, but I guess it technically is. Then we have SS198 LF, that is a 27 grain OTM bullet, has an aluminum core in it, going pretty darn fast. We'll take those, I got 3 of those shots to take. Typically, armor will stop this round if it mushrooms over the tip. The American Eagle TMJ seems to be the most inconsistent out of all the 5.7, so not sure what kind of velocity we'll get off of it. This should be right around where the S is. I don't know why it doesn't want to cycle those. Then SS198 will be below that, or off to the right of it. And then, let me go check that. All right, back again. Still on 198. Awesome. The cool thing about this ballistic board is I can write all of our shot placement on here. Here was our L7A1 from the CZ, the Liberty Civil Defense, then the IMI load, and then down here was our L7A1 from the 16-inch, then our Liberty Civil Defense from the 16-inch. We're 2 inches away from these other shots. That one's a little close, but I would consider that a fair hit based on how polyethylene performs. Here is our IMI from the 16-inch, our American Eagle TMJ, SS198 shots number 1, 2, and 3. Place those bets in the comments below. Typically with polyethylene, our rigid plates show better performance than flexible. Will that hold true? Ho! No pass-throughs, folks. Now we do have a little bit of a dimple there on that IMI 9mm load and our Liberty Civil Defense, but I'm not sure the use case for this. You probably would hold this out in front of you kind of like a shield versus placing it up against you. But we are stopping the rounds and doing a pretty darn good job of it. I have some 5.7 loads that we could put against this that would definitely poke holes in it, but that may be beyond the point. Before we step up to our Magnum caliber for today, I have 2 more loads of 5.7 that we're going to shoot at it. We have some R&R Weapon Systems R37X. It's an all copper expanding hollow point, and we have Black Dragon Fang from Vanguard Outfitters. That's their 34 grain high performance solid copper round. It's got pre-fragmented cuts in it. We're going to take that shot from the Palmetto State Armory Rock. This has a 4.6-inch barrel. I've been seeing pretty low velocities with this round out of this gun. Don't know if I got a slower lot or something. I am contacted Vanguard Outfitters to ask them to confirm. Normally you see about 2,000 feet per second in the handgun from this load. So this will be in the upper left of our plate. So yeah, 1771, so we should be seeing over 1,800 from that. And then our Vanguard, our R&R Weapon Systems R37X, these should be, I think, over 2,000 feet per second out of this gun. Again, I try to do some of these rounds to show you guys that body armor is not bulletproof, it's bullet resistant. There's always someone or something or a certain scenario out there that could defeat your body armor, and the best chance you have is always not to get shot. So this should be below that shot. I don't know why I got a slow velocity reading off of that. I'm not sure if it even loaded. Second shot. 2183. I wonder if I got an error on that first one. And for good measure, we'll take a shot of our Black Dragon Fang from our longer barrel length. Should be upper middle of the plate. Okay, our final threat is our big gun, our 50 Magnum, 50 Action Express, our 6-inch Desert Eagle. Now, I don't have a 44 mag barrel yet, but I did purchase one because my buddy Jamie P is always hounding me about getting a 44 mag for some testing. So I have a 300 grain Spear Gold Dot and a 300 grain jacketed soft point. So this should show us maximum energy disbursement on this type of plate. The IIIA allows for up to 44 millimeters in calibrated clay. So if we see over that, that's telling us we're using a lot of energy. So the Gold Dot first. This should be right somewhere on the left-hand side of the S. Whoo-wee! A lot of velocity there. And now our JSP should be right smack dab on the tip of the S on the bottom. Good velocity off that round. All right, let's go see what we did, folks. Home stretch now. Here were our 2 shots of our Black Dragon Fang. Here was our shot of R37, and the other shot. Here was our 58E Spear Gold Dot. Now we're only an inch from that shot, and then here is our jacketed soft point. Again, I have to remind everybody all the time, just because you see a penetration in one of my tests or demos doesn't mean that the plate is bad. I have done this long enough that I can design threats above and beyond the specifications of some of these plates. Place those bets in the comments below. Helper hand is here now. Ruh-oh, Raggy. Our Spear Gold Dot actually penetrated that plate. Now, that may not be a fair hit. Maybe we'll take another shot off camera somewhere on a less damaged part of the plate, but this thing's pretty well used up. Our specialty 5.7 loads were stopped. Again, I think they are under spec for velocity, so that's likely why. Our jacketed soft point left the largest dimple here in my prior 3A testing. That one penetrates less than the Spear Gold Dot. Here is our divot right here. We have our depth gauge. Depth on that guy, 44 millimeters. So in IIIA clay, you could see more. Again, I'm not sure what the scenario is, but you probably would likely use this as a shield, so back face probably wouldn't be a concern in that case. I'll be the first to admit that I am not a crack shot, even at 7 feet. I don't know why I'm so nervous with the Desert Eagle. It's pretty easy to shoot. I think maybe I should get these smaller grips for it, the G10s. But our second shot of Spear Gold Dot was right next to our Black Dragon Fang. That is not a fair hit. However, this shot up here is 2 inches from that shot. That would be considered a fair hit. Now in the IIIA, they're only going to shoot 6 rounds at a particular panel of one kind, and then they move on to the next one. They don't put all these shots on one plate. So we're showing here that polyethylene is able to stop a whole ton of threats. Place those bets in the comments below. Helper hand. Whoa! We do have a penetration right there on the non-fair hit shot, but our fair hit one stopped it. Quite the divot in there, but it stopped it. So going above and beyond a Magnum caliber in a non-compromised area, this panel would stop the almighty 50AE. Not a whole lot to say on our tear down because this is a very simplistic plate and it's easy to see its construction. We have this thicker plastic laminate on the outside to make our clipboard, and then we have what appears to be a pressed section of polyethylene. I'm not sure if it is pressed in a giant press or if it's just heated in an autoclave to help vacuum these layers together. But given that we shot that huge Magnum caliber at it, I would say it's probably pressed with a giant press because of how well it held together. Again, if you watch quite a bit of my videos, you know the longer you can keep your backing material or your plate together, the better it will do at stopping threats and or follow-up threats. You know, I don't want to downplay the, severity of what's going on in our current world, but if you can spend a couple of $100 on something that could save your life and it lasts, 5 to 10 years of normal use, it's better to have it in that backpack than not have it at all. Now, we did penetrate this ballistic board with our 50 AE from that 300 grain Spear Gold Dot, but those shots were not considered a fair hit. And in the real world, there is no such thing as a fair hit because anything's fair game. But the likelihood of someone facing against a 50 AE is probably very little. I think I'm going to close up shop for today and get the heck out of here. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into these, and this is just a hobby of mine that I do on the side. So there's a lot of labor involved in what you guys see as the end product. So my family is a big supporter. My Patreon and Subscribe fans, those guys have been supporting me for quite some time. I've got my link down there in the description to my link tree. You can go there, or even the little super thanks that YouTube has. So if you find any of this information helpful and you just want to drop me $1, it doesn't matter to me. Any of it helps offset the cost of acquiring some of this ammunition. Number 2 is the Armor Shop, who again, in full transparency, sent us those ShotStop plates to destroy with no strings attached. There is an affiliate link in the description below with a discount code. So if you guys want to click on that, if you've made your decision to buy this armor, that just gives me a kickback and it costs you nothing. And of course, number 3 is you all for watching. Until next time, catch you at the range.